Right, good morning and welcome. Thank you very much for registering for today's webinar all about events and event technology. It's 11 a.m. It's Tuesday, the 19th of March, 2024. My name is Jane Pendlebury. I am the CEO of HOSPA, the Hospitality Professionals Association. We're due to be live with you today for around 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how many questions we receive. I'm delighted to be joined by Conrad Punt here from Cvent. He has a long and distinguished career with Cvent, so is well placed to share his thoughts and data with us today. So thank you for that, Conrad.
Glad to be here.
Please do ask questions throughout using the Q&A option. If there's not enough time to answer the queries, then we'll get back to you afterwards, but please do put them in there and I hope we will answer them if we can. We will be recording today's webinar and hopefully we'll put that on the website within the next few days and with a summary of the key points as well. But thank you very much for joining us. And I'm pretty much going to hand over to Conrad to get this started. So welcome, Conrad, and thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jane. And it's great to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Conrad Punt, and I'm from Cvent. I've been with the company for the last 14 years now. And I'm really excited to be, I would say, sharing the space with Jane and talking about some of the exciting trends that we plan to see in 2024. Now, before we get into the meat of the presentation, there are some questions that we always get. For example, how's the market doing? What were the numbers for last year? And also, in some cases, tell us more about Cvent. So in case some of you are not aware or are not that familiar with Cvent, I just want to give you a very brief introduction of our company. So first and foremost, I'm really pleased to let you know that as an organization, we've now completed 25 years in the industry, which is great. And in the span of this time, you can see that there are a lot of things that have happened. We got acquired, we went public, we then went private, then we went public again. And then the latest news is that we've now been acquired by Blackstone, which is an amazing company to work with. They've actually backed a lot of different hospitality chains in the past, so we're really excited to be working with them. And as of today, we've got more than 300,000 active Cvent users and clients in more than 100 countries. Now, most of you would, of course, be aware of the Cvent Supplier Network. This is where your venue has a listing. You have a profile which planners can see. You've probably gotten a few RFPs from those planners as well, and sometimes you log into Cvent and respond to them. But outside of that, there's really an entire ecosystem that supports this. So when we talk about Cvent, then there are two different verticals. We, of course, have the venue side, which is the Hospitality Cloud. I'm a member of that team. And on this team, we work with venues and hotels and supporting their business. But the other side of the pond is where Cvent actually works with corporations and meeting planners and event organizers and offers them solutions whereby they can streamline their events and get more ROI from each event. So it's these two, I would say, ponds or these two clouds that really make Cvent a fully functioning system. Today, we're just talking about the Cvent Supplier Network, but just know that every single planner that uses Cvent in one way or another has access to your profile and is able to see the content that you are putting there. So again, very, very important. Talking about RFPs, one thing I do want to share with everyone is just how 2023 was. So again, you can see how as our platform started, and by the way, the Cvent Supplier Network, this was the inception of the Cvent Supplier Network was back in 2008. You can see that back then, there were about $50 million dollars worth of RFPs that were sent through our platform. And you can see how digital adoption has really grown over the years. So now, planners more than ever are adopting eRFP platforms to communicate with hotels and do business. You can obviously see what happened in 2020. It wasn't a great year for us. RFP volume plummeted, but we're very happy to say that in 2022, it bounced back, and 2023 was an even stronger year. So I don't know what 2024 holds in store for us, but again, 2023 was definitely a bounce back year, and we hope to see that same trend continuing forward with the resurgence in meetings and events. So we've talked about global numbers, but let's just zero in on Europe, because I know that most of you are either sitting in the UK or somewhere in Europe. So let's talk about this market in particular. If we talk about 2023, and a lot of times the question that I get is, okay, Conrad, how was 2023 overall? Like, what happened in 2023 from an RFP standpoint? How much business was sent? So here's a quick summary. In 2023, and I'm just talking about Europe, there were 1,600 organizations, okay? 1,600 organizations that sent close to 20,000 unique RFPs. These unique RFPs, the 19,000, they consisted of close to 4 million room nights and about $1.2 billion worth of business. Again, I'm saying unique because, again, if I'm sending one RFP to 5 venues, the unique RFP count is still going to be 1. So I'm only counting each piece of event once. So that's $1.2 billion worth of business that was sent out, which you can also see is 12% higher than what it was in 2022. So the value of RFPs is increasing. The room nights associated with those RFPs is increasing. The number of planners that are sending these RFPs is also increased. What's most exciting to me is that out of the 1,600 organizations, almost half of them are new planner organizations. So these are people that had not sent an RFP before through the Cvent Supplier Network. This may be the first time that they've sent an RFP through our platform. So a lot of new organizations are now jumping onto the bandwagon. They're sending RFPs to our platform, and this is a great opportunity for you to build those new relationships. One more thing that I think a lot of our folks in the audience, especially the folks that are sitting in the UK, will be particularly pleased to see is that out of all the countries in Europe where the RFP volume went, most of that volume went to the UK. So again, the UK has seen a strong 2023. If you are a venue or a hotel in the UK, I hope you've seen the same trend that 2023 volume was higher for you compared to 2022. The UK has definitely seen strong resurgence in terms of the RFP volume that's going to the region. Interestingly also, when we look at the dollar value associated, so this is a reason for any hotels and venues that are in Spain. I don't know if we have any attendees from Spain over here in the audience, but if you are a hotel or a venue in Spain, just know that the RFP value that went to hotels in Spain was actually the highest last year. So even though the actual RFP count was slightly lower, there were some large events that have led to the value being associated with these RFPs being the highest. So again, another reason to rejoice. And again, we look forward to 2024 and what it has in store. So with that being said, I'm really excited to really jump into the meat of this presentation and what we wanted to talk about all along, which is, okay, 2023 was great. We get it. It was better than 2022. Okay. But what about 2024? What are some things that you plan to see this year? What are some trends that are coming up that we should be prepared for in advance? So that's what Jane and I are going to talk about. And we're actually going to go through 5 trends that we saw in 2023, and we expect them to continue in 2024. So again, it's just all about being prepared for this. And of course, instead of reacting it, now you're anticipating that these trends will take place. So starting off with trend number 1, which is that costs are expected to continue to rise. And as you can see, event professionals, they are going to rely more and more on hotels and venues to really create that exceptional event experience. Now, look, we all know that the main challenge with the industry is that it's all centered around economic uncertainty, and rising costs and tighter budgets is a result of that. In fact, price increases are expected to continue through 2024, forcing event professionals to learn to be creative with their budgets. We also know that when we talk about food and fuel, again, these are essential components of any event, their cost has also risen. So that's, of course, leading to events becoming more costlier now. Now, here's the interesting thing. Event planners, they still source, they book and they manage events, but now they have budgeted questions up front. And I don't know if you've seen that or not with the RFPs that you're getting maybe through Cvent, but the budget question is really coming up front. And in spite of all these budget adjustments, planners don't skimp on the experience. Planners still have to find new and unique ways to meet the tight budget goals and, of course, extract that value, extract that experience. And this is where I really feel that venues can play a huge role in partnering with these planners, also around the budget expectations, but also making sure that they're able to deliver more for less. So again, if you are a gallery or a restaurant or a museum or any kind of special event venue, I think this is really a place where you could collaborate with the planner and truly deliver that exceptional event. So Where did we get this data from? Well, we actually surveyed more than 600 planners across Europe, and we asked them how their budget for in-person and even hybrid events will be impacted. And as you can clearly see over here, 67% of all planners, they said that they expect their budgets to increase. Now, I do want to point out two things over here. It's not all about costs increasing. Again, there is some positive news over here as well. There are two factors that are attributing to this increased, I would say, cost of events. Number one is there is an increased confidence in meetings and events, and we saw that in our numbers as well. The overall RFP volume is going up. We also saw how there were 800 new planners that sent RFPs to Europe last year. So of course, there's increased confidence in meetings and events. People are investing in events more and more now. But of course, we can't ignore the fact that another reason behind this increase in budget is that there are rising costs, and that can be attributed to inflation, meaning you naturally have to pay more money for the same event compared to last year. Actually, over here, Jane, the survey and the results that we have, this is across Europe. So the 600 planners that we spoke to, they're sitting all over Europe. But we know that the UK has been hit particularly hard by high inflation. So I just wanted to get your thoughts in terms of what you're hearing from event planners that are based over here in terms of their event costs and what they plan for 2024 and beyond.
Yes, certainly very similar to what you've said. I think the main thing is the costs are all over the place, and you mentioned fuel and food. And I think probably the two things I hear the most is the two main areas of concern, and for planning prices 6 months out or shorter perhaps, is the food inflation and the unpredictability of it. It's just up and down. It's not as stable as it might be. And then the second one, are staffing costs. They have been a problem for a very long time and continue to be a problem. I think perhaps less acute than it has been perhaps this time last year, but still problem, and the costs are certainly increasing. And in the UK, we've got an increase to national minimum wage. So if there are people sort of at the start of their career who are only earning national minimum wage, that is showing an increase as well. But overall, if we look at the general economy, inflation does seem to be coming down, so that should give us more stability as well going forwards. But one thing I think is quite key to point out is, although growth is very slow across the board, not just UK, but in European domestic growth as well, still very slow, and interest rates are high and inflation is high. If we isolate meetings and events revenue, they are growing at a faster pace than the rest of the growth. So that's good news for the industry.
Okay, I guess that's a silver lining. So yeah, it's good to see that meetings and events revenue, it's stabilizing. But yeah, I guess the situation is no different whether you're looking at Europe or you're just looking at the UK. But look, RFP volume is increasing, so hopefully 2024 we're going to see more volume going to the hotels compared to previous years. All right, so moving on to trend number 2, which is not really a surprise to me, to be honest, is of course the fact that planners are going to emphasize more on visual content. So again, just think about all the different places where your hotel is listed. I'm not just talking about your own website, but maybe you have a profile on Cvent. Maybe you have a profile on multiple different websites. Just really go back and have a thorough look at how your hotel is represented right now. The reason why I say this is because based on a survey that was done by Google, what they found is that 56% of business travelers and 35% of people that are going on pleasure trips at some point interacted with hospitality related, I would say, visual content. So I'm talking about videos, and images are absolutely critical. In fact, visual and interactive content like images and videos matter, especially in the hotel business, because if you think about things like your view or your furnishing or your amenities, again, if you're able to show planners what you can offer versus telling them, it is much, much more powerful. We also know that hospitality professionals sometimes struggle to engage new customers. And again, we have a lot of new customers coming in based on the data. And that sometimes smaller hotels often worry about the loss of market share against larger chains, which are, I would say, pretty adept at getting that visual content around and really making their website all spruced up. So again, visual content is going to be key. Think about images, think about videos, because our planners are thinking about that. In fact, if you look at this graph right over here, you can see that 46%, and again, it's the same lot that we're talking about, 600 plus planners based in Europe. Half of them, almost 50% of those planners, said that images and videos are important. This is something that they consider while making a decision whether to send an RFP to a hotel or not. In fact, right next to that, if you look at the purple bar over here, what you also see is that 37% of them said the same thing about floor plans and diagrams. So again, images, videos, floor plans, diagrams. Again, just think of all the places where your hotel is listed and just ask yourself, do I have this content uploaded? Are planners able to see videos of my property or not? And if the answer is no, then I think that's something that you should absolutely start working on. Jane, any insights that you'd like to add in terms of just how planners are getting more and more demanding with regards to visual content?
That's very topical, actually, and this wasn't a planned question. We've got an event this evening on the importance of video content in hotels. So if anybody is listening and they're local to London, we have an event this evening on this topic exactly. We're calling it Real Success, Real spelled REEL, and it's all about the video content. So yes, it certainly is a very hot topic at the moment to make sure you're up to date. And I know from our point of view, when we're looking for venues, if we're going to a property that we don't know, one of the first things we'll look for is an image of the room and definitely the specifications. So I think it is absolutely key to get that right.
Yep, absolutely. So again, think about the last time you made a pleasure trip. Again, I'm sure you would have seen images and videos of the hotel. I know personally I'm going to be traveling during the Easter break. So of course, I've had a lot of looks. I've had a lot of views of the place that I'm going to be staying at. So again, it's very important to everyone, and of course, including planners as well. All right, moving on to trend number 3, which is all about accessibility. Now look, making meetings and events inclusive and accessible for all, it's not just great for the hotel's reputation, it also increases satisfaction I would say, satisfaction and participation from attendees of all abilities. In fact, according to data from the UK government itself, in 2022, 16 million people, or 24% of the total population in the UK alone, lived with some form of disability. So companies, including the ones that are making a booking at your hotel, they are actively investing in making not just their content, but also their events accessible to all. And in order to make their event accessible, they would naturally need ramps and wide doorways and parking near the venue. But it should also include things like closed captioning, sign language interpreters, multilingual signage, and appropriate lighting, to name a few. So going back to our planner audience that we asked these questions for, what we saw, and again, we asked them, what are the biggest influencers for you when you're booking a specific hotel? Now, if you look at the first 3 bars over here, this is all pretty standard. I mean, obviously, everybody's going to prioritize the rates, the location, and availability. But what's interesting to see is that 18% of planners chose accessibility as a factor that influences their decision-making when it comes to picking a venue. Jane, on the topic of accessibility, I just wanted to ask you that when it comes to accessibility, like how does HOSPA address this? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is a key point. We support the BBA, the Blue Badge Access Awards, each year, which are all about hotels that have done great things for those who aren't as able as the rest of us to get in and out of venues, go to the bathroom, all those things. And we hear some very amusing stories at those events, just about how badly some people do it. But from a HOSPA perspective, we run our annual conference at the Royal Lancaster every year in London, Royal Lancaster, London, and they are particularly good at this. But there's certain things that we've had to put in place over and above what they've already got. We build our own stage, and normally there's just a few steps up to the stage. But when we've had speakers in wheelchairs, for example, we've had to put a ramp in for them. And it's something that we just really don't think twice about. As soon as we realize that we've got anybody with any needs, then we will make sure that if the hotel aren't already providing it, then we will add that in over and above. So yes, a key point to consider for everybody. It does depend on the venue. Some are just never going to be very compliant with accessibility because they just can't be because of the nature of their building. But where there are options, everybody should do their very best to ensure that light switches are nice and low, and there are places, easy places to get in and out of the property, in and out of the bathroom, and to the meeting rooms, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And just speaking of making an event accessible, I think you can see in my background somewhere over here that we have Stephen Connect Europe. So last year when we hosted Stephen Connect Europe, it was actually at the Hilton London Metropole. So it was an accessible event. I know that I hosted a few sessions and we had ASL interpreters along with us. So that was a first for us. And of course, we're definitely going to make this a standard for every event that we host, especially for our flagship events. But outside of our events now being more inclusive, one of the focuses that Stephen also has is our technology team is also prioritizing accessibility in terms of making our products. And again, we're a tech company, so our products are digital, but we're also working on making our digital content more accessible friendly. So that's also a work in progress for us. All right, trend number 4 is all about sustainability. Now, this is not a new topic. It's been around for a long time, but I feel now it's just gotten a lot more important and planners are really demanding that hotels really invest in sustainability and they want more than just a token effort at recycling. So environmental sustainability is essential in planning and execution of meetings and events now. And venues that already have programs in place will automatically impress planners and win more business from eco-friendly companies. I think we've all heard stories of certain companies being so eco-friendly that they now issue carbon credits to their business travelers instead of allocating a budget. And if you're out of those carbon credits, then you don't travel anymore. So again, a lot of companies have these kind of policies in place. And obviously, if they're going to send an RFP to you, they would expect that same level of commitment to sustainability. So again, we asked the 600 plus planners more questions on the topic of sustainability and just what they felt. And what we saw is that when it comes to sustainability offerings from hotels, 62%. So you've got 17% of the planners that said that they always look for a hotel that has sustainability offerings, but 45% of them said that they often look for this. So the vast majority of planners are prioritizing the sustainability measures that a hotel is taking. So again, if this is not already in place, then please just make sure that whatever accreditations you need to take or whatever steps that you are taking, you're obviously taking all those steps, but you're also highlighting that, not just on your own website, but again, you have a profile on Cvent, you might have a profile on a lot of other channels. Just make sure that you're really highlighting the efforts that you're taking in this regards to show planners that you mean business when it comes to eco-friendliness. Also, on the topic of sustainability, we went a little bit deeper because, again, there are a lot of different ways that you can be sustainable, but we actually asked them, what are some of the most important criteria or what are some of the most important aspects of sustainability that you prioritize? And we got different results from different countries. So, for example, I remember that for Germany, or the planners that were based in Germany, a lot of them prioritize water consumption or sustainable water consumption as a top priority for themselves. Energy consumption is, of course, something to really look out for. But again, you've got low zero waste and recycling policy or accreditation. So in case you need a guidebook on just where to start, then these are all of the different aspects that planners are focusing on and expect your hotel to be sustainable about. So energy, water, recycling, and all of these things. Jane, this is a really interesting topic because sustainability has been around for so long, but I feel that now planners are more adamant in terms of demanding this. But what are you seeing?
Yes, I think most people are now ticking the sustainability box. And I think the advice I often give is if you are doing that and you have got something to say, then please get your marketing teams to shout about it. We can make assumptions that everybody's doing something, but if you don't actually tell people what you're doing, and if you have got any accreditations, then you're kind of going to be missing out on business if you haven't told anybody that you're doing it. And the other piece of advice I always give is do it properly. We had a conference last year, or it was the year before actually, in 2022, where we had some high-flying people who'd got their B Corp and had got their EarthCheck accreditations. And what they both said, the people that had sort of trailblazed the way and got these accreditations prior to other people, is that although there had been some costs incurred along the way, they had reaped the rewards by generating more business because they had all these things in place. And also, as you pointed out, if they are looking at their energy consumption or their water consumption, then they're reducing costs there as well. So it's definitely cannot be ignored. That's the worst thing you can do. Continue doing what you're doing. My advice would be do more if you can and shout about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to share some context over here, I mean, Cvent is a tech company, but we take sustainability very seriously as well. So as an organization ourselves, some of the steps that we've taken to be more sustainable is, of course, number one, all of our offices, they are situated in buildings that are LEED Gold certified. So these are buildings that naturally reduce energy consumption. We're a tech company, so obviously we have a lot of, I would say, IT resources. We have a lot of technology lying around. So we're very, very conscious in terms of recycling of all of our hardware. That's another thing. And then one of our targets is also to join the Science-Based Targets Initiative, the SBTI. And what they basically do is that they measure greenhouse gas emissions. We've submitted our greenhouse gas emissions to them, and we hope to make the cut and be part of that panel as well. So again, it's not just hotels, but again, just across the board. As you can see, a tech company like Cvent is prioritizing this. So obviously, when we send an RFP to any hotel for an event, then we expect that the hotel has also done the same things and have taken the same checks and balances to make sure that they're sustainable. All right, so moving on to trend number 5, which is, of course, very exciting. It's all about AI. That is the new buzzword. Everyone's talking about it. So AI really has the power to transform the hospitality industry. In fact, all industries, but of course, today we're just talking about hospitality. And we know that with the influx of new RFPs, again, a lot of new inquiries that are coming in, but as Jane mentioned earlier, there's a staff shortage going on. Aside from that, you have a lot of new folks that are joining as well that need to be trained, that need to be upskilled. So AI in this case can really be a game changer because it's going to allow you to really automate a lot of your tasks and allow your staff to really focus on the qualitative tasks that are going to yield more ROI for you. So in terms of the relevance of AI, I just want to refer to a study that Forbes did and Accenture did in terms of the relevance of how just important this is going to be. They surveyed executives across the globe and asked them questions pertaining to AI. And it's great to see that almost 100% of them, so 98% of the executives that they asked questions said that AI is going to play a critical role when it comes to their organization's strategy in the next 3 to 5 years. 64% of the businesses that were asked about AI said that it's definitely going to help increase productivity. And 54% of the people that were asked about AI said that they really believe that AI can improve written content. And we've already seen that. Again, a lot of people are already using AI to improve their content, to improve what they're writing. I know I personally use that a lot as well. So I'm in that club as well. But yeah, these are all of the different ways in which AI can be leveraged. It's definitely going to stay around. I know it's a buzzword, but it's going to be here to stay. And the earlier you adopt it, the better. So yeah, Jane, any I would say comments for you in terms of AI, in terms of what you're seeing?
Yes. So if we take it back a step just to technology in general, we saw a massive acceleration of technology adoption during the pandemic for lots of different reasons, partly because we had to put technology in place where there had been the human touch before. So that was one reason, but also for efficiency where the staff just weren't there. So the acceleration has been in place for some time. But still, hospitality doesn't tend to lead the way on technology. And we often follow the airlines. We did on revenue management and more with guest-facing technology as well. It was, you could check into a flight through a kiosk long before you could check into a hotel bedroom yourself online. So we still have some way to go. AI, I think, will be a very interesting development in hotels. And what I think is crucially important is to use it where it's going to add benefit to the efficiency of your staff and their time, and also to the benefit of the guest. My big piece of advice is always never forget the industry that we're in. We're in hospitality, we're here, the human touch is important. So streamline those processes, get your back office systems all as efficient and as clever and creative as they can be. But don't lose sight of the fact that we are a people business. We need to be out there. We need to be talking to our guests. We need to be understanding what they want. And sometimes the AI will not necessarily pick up on the tone or exactly what the issue is if it's a sensitive, emotional type question. So it's very important not to forget that. So yes, we still have some way to go. We mustn't forget that we're there, but people will remember how we make them feel. Second, once the event has been efficient, they will then, their second thing will be how we made them feel. So that does come down to the personal level completely. So I think that is a very important part.
Absolutely. And sometimes I get the question that, okay, fine, like where do we even start with AI? Because again, our company has started with this, but sometimes when we get asked the question, as like, what's the first step that I should be taking if I really want to implement AI within the organization, is just create that AI committee. I'm sure within the hotel team, you will have a few people that are crazy about AI and really want to see it implemented. So just create that core committee and then have a list of all the repetitive tasks that you could delegate to AI. Because again, Jane, as you said, we're in the industry of people and networking and meeting people face to face. So again, there are some things that cannot be delegated, but for everything else, you of course have AI and you can use that. And I know that as a tech company, we're using AI in two different ways. We're of course using AI to improve our own software or our own solutions that we offer to hotels and to planners. One big example will be a proposal writing assistant. So again, all of you that are in the audience today, I'm sure you've received an RFP, you would have responded to an RFP, and there's a lot to type in it. So we're going to try and relieve some of that pressure with the power of AI. In fact, we're going to have these custom templates that are going to show up. So depending on whether the person that you're responding to is either somebody that you've already worked with in the past, there could be a different template, versus somebody completely new, it could be a different template. So we're working on that, and we're going to make that a lot easier for you. So responding to RFPs, which can be a repetitive task, a lot of that can be delegated to AI, and then all you have to do is just check it and make sure that it's all good to go, and then just submit it. But it's also internal. Like, it's not just for improving our own solutions that we're giving to planners and hotels, but also in terms of our own productivity. As a company, we're leveraging AI because, again, ever since we've implemented it, our teams have been able to move faster. They're able to decode faster. They're able to test faster, fix bugs faster. So again, all of this is improving our own productivity internally. So for us, it's like externally, of course, we're using it to improve our products, but internally, we're using it to improve our own productivity.
Yeah, we do a couple of awards over the course of the year. Firstly, for our own HOSPA professional awards, and then also for the Hotel Marketing Association, we do some awards. And it's quite interesting when we're looking at the entries. You can sometimes spot the ones that have had some AI assistance. So when you said there to make sure you check the data, I would also suggest double checking the way it sounds as well, and it has picked up the right tone for your property.
Yeah, that's definitely a good takeaway. Yeah, always make sure that you're the one who's checking the AI content at the end of the day. All right, so that pretty much sums up our 5 trends. So one thing I do want to leave everyone with is, again, one thing that we've really talked about today is the fact that planners are getting more demanding, but at the same time, it's really important for hotels and venues to handhold them because just like you've had staff shortages on your side and new staff on your side, the same thing is happening over there. And we see that in the numbers as well. There are a lot of new organizations, a lot of new planner associates that are sending RFP maybe for the first time, and they might need your help on that. So just along those lines, remember that when you're working with Cvent, there are various ways in which you can leverage this platform. You obviously know about the fact that you have a profile on Cvent, and you can, of course, improve your visibility to attract more RFPs. But at the same time, we do offer solutions whereby you can really collaborate with the planners and deliver an exceptional experience to them, whether that's in the form of creating custom 3D diagrams, whether that's in the form of alleviating the stress that they have to face with rooming lists. There are various ways in where I would say whereby we can work with you on this. So if you are facing any challenges in terms of attracting new business or converting business, or just collaborating with planners in general, do let us know. We'd be happy to reach out to you and just show you how we can work together.
Okay, there's some really interesting bits there. Oh, and you popped up a Q&A.
Yeah, sorry.
Slide, definitely, because I do have some questions that are some of them were asked a little earlier. But one thing I wanted to comment on right at the very beginning when you showed your RFP data, how it was growing and growing and growing prior to 2019. That's pretty much reflected in the trends of the business as well, not just the RFPs, but what was actually happening. It was rising so rapidly, and then bang, the pandemic came and pulled the rug. But it is now moving upwards again, as your RFP proposals are showing, or requests are showing. And the growth is good, but I don't think we're quite back at pre-pandemic levels yet.
Mhm.
And that's definitely what I'm hearing from the venues themselves. Sometimes their revenue is doing okay, not necessarily their profit, but their revenue is on a par, profit not on a par, and actual volume isn't as good as potentially it was prior to 2020. And this is what I'm hearing, but it's also very much backed up by the benchmarking companies like Venue Performance and Hotstats. They will deliver the same sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
But one of the questions, which actually was intriguing for me as well, on one of the early slides, you showed that the UK was getting a lot of the RFPs, or the majority of the RFPs. The question is that mainly London on other cities, or is it pretty much evenly spread across the UK? I don't even know if you've got the answer to that question.
Yeah, actually, I mean, that's correct. I mean, it's most of the RFP volume is going to London, but then of course we have RFP volume going to other major cities within the UK as well. And look, if you are a hotel in some other part of the UK, maybe you're not in London and you'd like to know how your market is performing or how you are performing versus your market, then absolutely feel free to reach out to me, or if you already know who your Cvent account manager is, we can prepare that information for you so that you have a better understanding of, okay, how much business am I leaving on the table to say. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say the major city would definitely be London in terms
Yeah,
of
so
RFP volume. Yeah,
it has always been very strong for
yeah,
international, because it's not least because
absolutely.
it's such a easily accessed hub. Another question is it just the sunshine in Spain that makes that so attractive? Is it as simple as that? Is it the weather?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, I'll actually have to check. I think there are a few major RFPs, and I guess maybe some of the people that are here, if you are a hotel in Spain, you might know which ones, but there are certainly some RFPs that were massive, and that's of course shot the the value way up. So yeah, I mean, it could just be the sunshine in Spain. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind a trip to Spain right now. So there we go. Right. I think that has actually exhausted the questions. So please do ask any more if you've got any. But I think that just leaves it to me to say thank you for those that did ask questions. If you do want to ask any post the webinar, that's fine as well. We will get back to you on any queries that you want answers on. But thank you, Conrad. Loads of great detail there included in your slides. So if anybody does need further information, then please contact me or Conrad directly. Our information is there on the slide at the moment. And I can either give you a quick answer or introduce you back to the right person at Cvent, or any other professional if it's not a Cvent specific query. And please, I always say this, please remember that the data shared today is unique to Cvent, and it's their research. And a lot of my comments were very anecdotal. If you need formal advice, then please approach your professional advisors or come to me at Hosper for a referral if you do need something specific to you. Do take a look at our website for other upcoming events. I managed to slip in a plug earlier for a live event we have this evening at the Hart Shoreditch, which is covering the value of video marketing. We do still have some spaces left, actually. It's starting at 5:30. So if you do want to come and you are local, then please let me know. I'll make sure that you are on the guest list. There are lots of other upcoming events on the website too. So please keep your eyes open and look at for the ones relevant to you and register for them. You can find recordings of all of our webinars and masterclasses with a summary of the key points on our website, hosper.org. And today's webinar should be loaded up within the next few days. And as you've registered for it, we will be sending you a link to that anyway, but it will be available to other people as well. But it falls to me now to say thank you very much for listening. We look forward to seeing you again very soon. And a big thank you to Conrad and the team at Cvent who've put this information together for us today. So thanks all very much, and thank you, Conrad.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks, everyone. And yes, I look forward to meeting you hopefully today at the event. So yeah.
Okay, see you later.
Right.
Bye.
See you. Bye.